This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, another polar blast has the council issuing another warning to motorists after several cars are abandoned. This year's gang show will have an extra special twist as its directors celebrate over 30 years in the job. And thanks is given for a flowery donation that's showing up similarities between China and Dunedin. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. A local man is celebrating more than 3 decades spearheading the Otago Gang Show. He's been directing the production with his wife since 1980, and they've come up with something extra special for this year's performance.
Making a big song and dance, Scouts and Guides perform in this year's Otago Gang Show. These productions have been running since 1956, and in celebration of the 30th show, the crew say they've put together something topical and hilarious.
And probably the biggest thing though is that we've based this show around a Doctor Who theme, and we have some pretty cool sets and costumes as well as some pretty cool songs that support the story of Doctor Who or our story of Doctor Who.
The production's an important milestone for Walker. He's been directing the show with his wife for more than 30 years now. He loves doing it and says it's a great chance for the area's Scouts to get experience on stage.
Also, I think that over the years we've developed a real love of theatre, and putting theatre and young people together is just a wonderful challenge and just provides such fantastic opportunities for young people that it just keeps us going and going and going.
Walker says the way the show's put together has changed drastically since he began directing in 1980. Everything's become much more high-tech. Even with modern equipment, Walker says it's still tough putting it all together, but he doesn't intend to stop anytime soon.
When we reach a point where we say, hey, we can't do any more, then we'll stop, but already the ideas are ticking over for 2 years' time, so I don't think that's going to be for a while yet.
The cast are getting a kick out of the show, and Walker's happy with this year's batch of performers because their efforts are making a milestone show extra special. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
Wild weather has caused 9 crashes around the city, including a multi-vehicle pile-up at the Tyree Bridge. Police say the incidents have all been caused by icy conditions and have occurred in several locations across the city. None of the crashes have resulted in major injuries, although one local has been assessed and treated for a sore chest. Police are urging city residents to reassess if they need to drive in conditions like this, as black ice and slush can make driving much more difficult. And if people need to travel, they're advised to drive slowly and use snow chains if necessary. A partnership between a local trust and the city's Chinese garden is blooming. Rhododendrons for Dunedin members are being thanked for botanical contributions to the garden earlier this year, and it's helping illustrate the similarities between China and Dunedin.
Celebrating a successful partnership with a few beverages. Members of the Dunedin Chinese Garden share a cup of tea with those from the Rhododendrons for Dunedin Trust. It's a way to acknowledge their recent generosity.
We're thanking the Trust for the gift of the rhododendrons, which we planted a while ago, which are providing some very useful ground cover and will look beautiful in summer.
And Evan says it's important the Trust knows how much their gift means to the garden and its staff.
It's lovely to be able to thank them with a special tea ceremony, which is a very, very special way of saying thank you and how much we appreciate their gift.
The thought of rhododendrons conjures images of the Dunedin Botanic Gardens in summer, but in fact they originate from Asian countries, including China. And Trust Chairman Warwick Grimmer says that makes the plants a good fit within the garden.
The rhododendrons are synonymous with a lot of countries, but there are a lot of rhododendrons in China, and also it's a matter of the colour and shape and form that the Chinese garden was looking for, I think.
Grimmer says the Trust is more than happy to provide the plants to those who want them, all to help make rhododendrons more prolific around the city.
We have been planting throughout Dunedin for the last 15 years. We've planted something like over 17,000 rhododendrons around Dunedin and the surrounds over the last 15 years. Now, once we've done the planting, the maintaining is up to in this particular case, the Chinese garden.
Evans says a few of the plants have begun flowering despite the city's fierce wintry weather. But it's summer she's really looking forward to, when everything is in full bloom, bringing some lucky red splashes of colour to the garden. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
The Dunedin City Council has allocated more than $400,000 for events in the area. The council is backing a dozen different festivals and events. ID Dunedin Fashion Week is the big winner, receiving $100,000. The remainder of the money has been split up between several other events. They include the International Science Festival and the Otago Rally. The city is bearing the brunt of the latest wintry blast. With much of the hill suburbs blanketed in snow, locals are having to abandon their vehicles, and it's prompting reminders to be smart when travelling in dangerous conditions.
Locals are out and about making the most of yet another substantial snowfall. But with the cold weather comes a raft of issues, particularly for motorists. Icy roads and poor visibility make for dangerous driving conditions. And DCC Road and Maintenance Engineer Peter Standring says locals need to be smart when deciding whether to venture out.
It does come to personal responsibility and personal choice. Well, we so try to aid with giving information and the likes, but people need to get out there and make their own judgment. And like days like today sort of thing, I don't think walking was probably especially down some of the hill areas, was pretty dodgy as well.
Multiple cars have been abandoned around Dunedin due to the snowy conditions. And while often it's wise to stop driving if roads appear dangerous, Standring says leaving cars in non-parking areas can cause additional issues.
Our contractor comes by and has to shift some of those cars that are actually, once again, the greater good. And if a lot of people are getting past sort of thing, we can't actually be obstructed by a few cars who decide to walk properly, wisely, but we need to shift those cars to the side, and often they are.
But it's not all doom and gloom. The city's youngest residents are making the most of the powder, venturing up to higher ground in search of a bit of fun in the snow.
Just building a few snowmen and decided to come up to the hill suburbs. There's quite a lot of snow up here.
Just been playing with the snow and making snowmen, and we had a bit of a snow fight before.
And while these guys are less than impressed with the snowfall's timing during their school holidays, one youngster's bucking the trend.
I'm pretty happy it's actually fall in school holidays because I like to get my schoolwork done and stuff, yeah.
This isn't likely to be the city's last snow day this year, or even this week. A slightly warmer night should bring a bit of thaw, but Met Service is forecasting further flurries for the next couple of days. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we'll find out whether or not technology is helping in the war against possums, and we get your thoughts on recent changes to public transport.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth into every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Head
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Yeah, we're heading down George Street, downbeat, tip of the hat to the people we meet in southern skies. Take your place, take your place, take your place in the world. Take your place, take your place in the world.
Moving around the corner, overseas, Best Removals Otago Limited, specialists in household removals and business relocations, as well as packing materials, secure storage. Best Removals can do it all. 0800 266 834.
Got a hankering to create? Then head on down to Needle and Thread at 441 Princess Street. Needle and Thread is your first choice for a great range of quilting, sewing, knitting, supplies and tuition. With so many options, you will be inspired. Needle and Thread, phone 479 2771.
Welcome back. Hospitality New Zealand says the creeping costs of new laws are putting pressure on local businesses. The organisation has released a report on the different factors impacting hospitality in Dunedin and the rest of the country. Staff say higher licensing fees are having significant negative effects for local business owners. And more paperwork means more small businesses have to bring in outside help. It's believed increasing tourism numbers are partially offsetting the rising costs that the new laws are causing. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. And the NZX 50 has closed the day down against the... it's closed the day down 35 points. The Nikkei is down 579 points. And to the exchange rates, and the Kiwi dollar is up against the Australian, but we are down against the greenback, the yen and the euro. No change against the pound. The Otago Peninsula Biodiversity Group has ramped up efforts to deal with possums on the peninsula. They've been using new technology to track traps by way of an internet-based app. Bruce Kyle is part of the group and he joins us to talk about the pest situation. Good evening, Bruce. What's the possum situation like on the peninsula at the moment?
Well, we've taken about over 7,000 off there so far, and that's over the last 4 or 5 years. And we've just taken out another 230 Tim's trapping along the residential areas, and now we're about to move into the rural land, and we hope to take quite a few more out. So yeah, the numbers are building, and people are starting to see the benefits.
Now you've got an app that you've been trialling. It's to track traps. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's a smartphone app that you can download and use as you can actually scan a trap, a barcode on a trap with the smartphone, and then access a computer and download information and GPS information that way. So it's a bit like a PDA, which is another step above having a notebook. And yeah, there's some advantages in using that sort of technology. We see it as really good for people who are volunteer trapping for us and residents who are running traps, and I think we'll start using it ourselves in the not too distant future.
So anybody can go out there and place a trap and then put a barcode on it and keep track of it?
Well, we have barcodes on labels that we give to people to stick on traps that we'll be able to give to people to stick on them, and then away they go.
How is the trial going?
It's going pretty well. As I say, we've been very busy with other things. We haven't spent a lot of time on the trial, but we have run some traps with it, and we're looking forward to talking to the developers to look at the pros and any cons that might be there, and try and improve it in every way we can.
Do we know at all yet whether or not the app has been effective?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's done what it's intended to do. You know, it's sent the data to a computer in the city and provided information. And it's the trapper that used it has found it really easy to use, and he said he thinks it's great.
How big a problem are possums on the peninsula?
Well, pretty much like they are everywhere in New Zealand. You know, they have impacts both in agriculture and in conservation areas, you know, ecosystems. They're found from the snow line down to the low tide level, basically, and they impact on plants and animals in all those systems. So it builds up, and if you don't do anything about it, you know, it can cause catastrophic effects for some ecosystems.
Are there any other critters out there that are becoming as much of a problem as possums?
Well, there's other pests that are also recognised as real problems already, yes, you know, like stoats, for example, wildcats, you know, there's heaps, rats. I mean, it depends on the ecosystem and or the community involved, you know. Everyone has a slightly different angle on what damage pests are doing for them.
What sort of impact is there on the local human population by the damage that possums cause?
Well, for farmers, you know, they don't want to end up with TB, so that's a major for them. And I mean, for your average person, a lot of people like to see bird life in their gardens, and so getting rid of possums helps that to happen. You know, we're seeing a lot more bird life, tuis, bellbirds, wood pigeons, you name it, out on the peninsula. And yeah, as well as those conservation values that probably not as many people are aware of or value, there's plenty happening right in front of our eyes.
We'll keep up the good work.
Cheers.
Otago Peninsula Biodiversity Group member Bruce Kyle, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, we're on the streets to see what you think about changes to the city's bus routes and timetables. And we'll take a look at weather for Thursday.
Do you want support for your breathing? You are not alone. In New Zealand, over 600,000 people have some form of breathing difficulty, especially with the high pollen season in New Zealand. Puff Plus is an excellent natural product developed to support lung function and breathing difficulties. Puff Plus is so effective, you get a no questions asked, money back guarantee on the first purchase. Give it a go, you have nothing to lose. Call now, 0800 502 402. Take as directed. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams.
Are you within your legal rights to take one life in order to save another? Welcome to the ambiguities of law. Because whilst the law may be clear, there is still room for both yes and no.
What? No!
The decision will depend on logical thinking and the art of argument. And this is what we learn at New Zealand's first and world-renowned law faculty.
You can stop now!
I'm Latafale, and this is my place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Quality Tailors, the alterations specialists, adjusting alterations made to measure. Quality Tailors, fitting Dunedin for over 15 years. Call 477 8028 162 Princess Street, one shop down from Darling Street.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
Got a hankering to create? Then head on down to Needle and Thread at 441 Princess Street. Needle and Thread is your first choice for a great range of quilting, sewing, knitting, supplies and tuition. With so many options, you will be inspired. Needle and Thread, phone 479 2771.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Here's something else to look forward to sinking your teeth in every weekend with the Otago Daily Times, the Weekend Mix, your guide to what's hot in fashion, entertainment, food and more. New weekend magazine in your ODT. Pick up your copy this Saturday.
Welcome back. Rugby fans are being given a chance to get up close and personal with a Highlanders trophy. It's the prize for the team's historic victory in last weekend's Super Rugby final. The trophy is being taken on a tour across Otago, starting at the end of this week. There's huge demand from rugby fans for photos with the trophy, and that's prompted the tour. However, no Highlanders will travel with the trophy due to player commitments. Dunedin's public transport system has received a major overhaul. Bus fares have gone up, travel routes have been altered, and more changes are planned. With that in mind, our Word on the Street team braved the cold to ask if locals use public transport.
No, I don't. Why is that? Because it's a lot easier to use private transport, to use cars, and it's just too long, takes too much time, too expensive really, if you bus everywhere.
Maybe, sometimes.
Why is that?
Well, usually I just drive, but if, the situation comes and I can't drive, then I sometimes have to use public transport.
If we don't have a sober driver, we will resort to a bus. That's the extent of our public transporting. If not, it's just private in the car. We're good to go.
I don't use public transport, but I do use the horse and on my farm, which is kind of like a communal thing. So sometimes I'll take that into town or something, but usually no.
No, not normally, because I live down the peninsula and I use my own car because the service is not adequate for my needs.
No, because there is not a proper transport here for the people, because they have trouble to going here to there, because not too many buses here and not proper timing here.
No, I don't, and mostly because I live quite close and I can just walk to where I need to go.
No, usually I live in the Octagon and usually it's just a bit more easier just to commute. It's not far down to the uni, so it's pretty easy for me, to be fair.
Yes, I use the bus to get to school sometimes and back home.
I do use public transport, the bus, because I can get a good deal on student discount as well on the bus, which is pretty good as well.
No, we don't. We tend to walk everywhere, and I don't know, we actually don't understand the bus timetables, so kind of a bit of a deterrent here.
No, I just walk everywhere. It's easier to walk everywhere. Kind of the buses you have to pay for, and yeah, it's hard to understand.
No, I don't really use it because I'm driving, because I drive around.
Not anymore, and because I live in town now. I used to live in Opaho, I'd use it a little bit.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. A cold snap has coated the city's hill suburbs with snow, causing havoc on the roads and prompting some serious safety warnings from the DCC. A local man is celebrating more than 3 decades in charge of the Otago Gang Show, with a Doctor Who themed production marking the occasion. And the Rhododendrons for Dunedin Trust is being thanked for its contributions to the city's Chinese garden. Well, it's time now to find out what's going to be on the pages of the Otago Daily Times, and Bruce Query's in to tell us. Good evening, Bruce.
Good evening, Rebecca. From business, news that there might be more life yet in the Macraes gold mine in East Otago. Its owner says that promising results from latest drilling shows new potential for the mine, which employs 500 workers. There's more snow expected tomorrow, as you may well have heard. It's down to about 300 metres, the forecasters say. Snow and ice around the region today has caused crashes on roads, plus it's disrupted flights. And speaking of flights, Dunedin Airport will be rebranding at the moment. The All Blacks took on Manu Samoa, in Apia for the first time, and the visitors took away a narrow win. Well, Samoan residents in Dunedin have been partying like they won. We'll have some local news pictures plus sports coverage.
What is going to be on the arts pages tomorrow?
Rebecca Fox goes to theatre and she takes a peek behind the magical world of masks.
Ooh, that's in tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Bruce. Time now for local weather.
This weather update is proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn's Puff Plus.
And here is tonight's city view. It's taken of snow on the peninsula. And it's been a fairly chilly day around the city, courtesy of that snow. 5 degrees for both the central city and the gardens, 6 for the Tyree. To the situation, and the cold southerly flow is increasing as an anticyclone develops in the South Tasman Sea and spreads towards the South Island. To the forecast in some of the main towns of the lower South Island for tomorrow, becoming fine with southerly winds for Invercargill and Te Anau. Just a fine day on the cards for Gore and Alexandra. Not terribly warm though, highs of around 5 or 6 degrees. Becoming fine with southerlies for Queenstown and Oamaru, 6 degrees each there, and a fine day with little wind for Wanaka and Twizel and a high of 5. In Dunedin tonight, showers clearing with a low of 4. Becoming fine and sunny tomorrow with southerlies easing. Frosts likely at night in sheltered places, a high of 7. And on Friday, fine and sunny with frosts once again in those sheltered places, and again 7 degrees. And to the Southern Clams tidal and fishing information, high tide tomorrow morning is at 10 to 10. Low tide follows at 20 to 5. And fishing conditions have finally turned for the better. Give it a shot at around 6:30 tomorrow morning. And that's all from the team here at 39 Dunedin News for Wednesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
Fire that burned so bright now smolders in the sand. But I don't have the courage to kick out the last of the man. So I spit some sticks between my hands. Pray that if it sparks my tears, don't douse the flame. How can I put you out with a chance for reignite? Let's go one night without a fight. We'll be burning back to bright. The tide's fast approaching. We've got a little time to move. I'll pick up these burning clothes. One more must by So I'll spin some sticks between my
Welcome to Southern Attractions. Over the next half hour, we'll take you on a virtual tour of the historic city of Dunedin and its magnificent wild landscapes. We'll introduce you to many of the features that make this place so welcoming to visitors. And we hope this show will help you decide how to enjoy our city's many attractions and inform you more about Dunedin and Otago. At 46 degrees south, about halfway between the equator and the South Pole, sits Dunedin, also known as the Edinburgh of the South, or colloquially as Dunners, and the Maori name is Ōtepoti. It's the second largest city in the South Island of New Zealand and the principal city of the Otago region. It's considered to be one of the 4 main urban centres of New Zealand for historic, cultural and geographic reasons. The Dunedin urban area lies